In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern where I would say there is an uptick in activity overall. So we're going to be seeing more thunderstorms, more potential tropical threats, and more raininess overall. Things have been so dry in the eastern two-thirds of the nation for the past few weeks. It's unbelievable, but we are seeing some signs that there is going to be an uptick in this activity. So that's what I want today's video to primarily be about, just to kind of switch topics up a little bit from what we've been talking about for a long time now, which is mostly the cooler air, which is obviously ongoing. Very, very beautiful, but I want to focus on the storminess today. Now, before we really dive into things, be sure to check out Prestige Weather, where we are running a promo. If you use code DIRECT at checkout, you will get your first month for only 99 cents instead of that $5 typical monthly charge. So you can try it out. You can cancel at any time, so it's totally risk-free. Also, we have a ton of early access content there that will be coming out on Direct Weather, but you're going to get it early if you're within our Prestige Weather community. So be sure to check that out. And also, unannounced features that are on the way, unheard of really in any weather communities, and it's going to be super, super cool. So you're going to want to get in at that 99-cent discount for sure to check it out. Again, pinned comment and description down below, as well as the top right corner of your screen. You can click to check it out today. Let's dive into things. I want to take a look here at the upcoming pattern, and we are using the GFS model today. I want to get a little bit of extra range. Instead of just using the next 10 days, we will get the next 15 here on your American GFS model. And I want to remind you guys that with Hurricane Debbie, we actually saw this GFS model do really, really well, where the European model fell short. So the GFS model does get a lot of hate, obviously, and a lot of people love the European model, but you never know which one's going to be correct. Of course, sometimes the GFS model is correct, sometimes the European model is correct, and really, it's good to look at both typically. Of course, I don't have an hour every day to make videos. I wish I did, because we would go over every single model, of course, but today we're going with the GFS model just to take a look. It's been a while since we've kind of gotten an update here, so it's good timing. Let's just take a look at tomorrow afternoon on Friday, August 23rd, and what you see is some showers and thunderstorms around, especially here in the Pacific Northwest, throughout the Rockies, and then throughout portions of the northern plains there in particular. We also see that throughout kind of your Gulf and Southeast coastal areas, we do have some moisture around, as there's just some broad low pressure, and this will create some tropical downpours, not only for obviously any boats that are out there, the Bahamas, Cuba, Central America, better yet, the Gulf Coast, the East Coast there along the Southeast. Also are going to be seeing some tropical downpours from this one, so they can be thrown on shore, especially again along that Gulf and Southeast coast. So be on the lookout for that. Could cause some very, very heavy rainfall in a short period of time, something that we're going to be watching very closely, of course. I want to take us one step further towards Saturday on August 24th. What we're seeing by this point, interestingly enough, is some snowfall up there in Canada. Quite a bit of storminess here for the west overall. We see along your British Columbia areas, as well as down through the Pacific Northwest there in the United States. We're seeing plenty of showers and rainfall occurring as some storm systems have gone ahead and moved onshore. We're also seeing some specks of snowfall here right there along those kind of Cascades to the north of the border there in Canada. I think they're still called the Cascades up there, but correct me if I'm wrong. We do see that throughout some of the plains in the central states, there is some lower pressure building, and this is allowing for some showers and thunderstorms to take place in here, so keep that in mind. We also see, again, Gulf and Southeast coast are going to need to be on high alert, as there is plenty of activity around those coastal areas. Now, as we take a look here at Sunday on August 25th, we're seeing thunderstorm activity really, really taking off here for the Pacific Northwest down through the Rockies. Could also be in the form of showers. It's probably going to be a mixture of the two. Definitely some of these Rocky states especially can see thunderstorms and even severe weather at times, so it's something to watch for. We do see that this Gulf and East Coast activity is not going anywhere. If anything, it's maybe worsening. We will be watching for the slim chance of tropical activity coming from this. So that is something that we're going to be really, really keeping our eyes on. But as of now, that chance is getting lower and lower every single day, because we're getting closer and closer to it happening with no expected development. Of course, always be prepared for the unexpected, because anything is possible in the weather. That happens to be why I love it so much. Just the unpredictability of it. Now, as we keep going, I want to take us towards Monday. So the start of next week, this is going to be the 26th. And we're really seeing the west slow down here. So we're seeing a lot quieter of conditions out here. And we're really seeing an uptick here if you're east of the Rockies. We're seeing sporadic showers and thunderstorms all over the place here popping up. But especially if you're in the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, or down there along the Gulf Coast, we are seeing quite a bit of activity as well. All of these areas need to be watched very, very closely. Here is Tuesday on August 27th, and what we're seeing here is, again, these kind of southern areas here. We are getting that tropical moisture. Also, some lower pressure along the northwest. Look at this, a lot of snowfall there in those northern Canadian Rockies there. Very, very interesting and very early on in the season to be seeing that. We do see that there is some activity as well for the Midwest, Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast here. So again, it's not anything huge, but it is a big time shift from what we've been seeing, which is just nothing. So there is something to discuss here in the East as far as activity, and there will be a little bit more here on this model run as well. So let's keep going. Wednesday, the 28th here, what we're seeing is, again, the South dealing with thunderstorms and showers. North has a couple passing systems as well. So definitely some systems moving through here. Very, very interesting. We do begin to see a bit of a cold front here around Thursday on the 29th here developing. A lot of what we've been looking at on your European model. Some tropical development trying to maybe take off here along the coasts of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama there, with a lot of this tropical moisture. At the very least, it could mean heavier rainfall, a little bit of windiness, and some bad downpours. So definitely pay attention to that regardless of if it's expected to develop or not. We do see that there's quite a bit of activity here off the Mid-Atlantic coast as well, where maybe some tropical activity is trying to take off. So simultaneously seeing two potential systems there around the end of the month. Here is Friday. And what we're seeing is, again, this uptick in these thunderstorms and showers for the east. Nothing too much yet. Saturday on the 31st here of August, we see this big upswell of storms across, especially the central states. There's a couple here along the east, but it's mostly here in the central states. I want to take it a step further because here's our first kind of major storm system, and this will be Sunday, September 1st. We get a strong cold front look here. Cold air diving in from Canada, and we get a lot of thunderstorms and showers along this. We also have a massive ridge out west. So the jet stream doing something like this. We would see warm air trying to race out ahead of this. This could cause some instability along these areas. Severe weather would be expected. Definitely some bad thunderstorms, rainfall, wind, showers, you name it. This is going to be a huge upswing in activity if we see a major cold front like this. As we reach towards Monday, we see that a lot of the deeper south, even some of the southwest here along the Rockies down through the Four Corner states, also south central, southeast, a lot of these areas dealing with much more rainfall than what we've been seeing. I'm going to take us towards Tuesday afternoon. And again, a lot of areas in the south central and southeast are seeing a lot of thunderstorms and a lot of showers. So kind of rebounding from the quieter beginning of August that we saw. And now we're seeing a stormier beginning of September here by this point. So very, very interesting. Wednesday on the 4th of September, here's what we're looking at. So a lot of storms here for a lot of the east here. That's Wednesday the 4th. Thursday the 5th here, maybe some tropical activity once again trying to take off the east coast. So we're really watching that very closely. Regardless, lots of rainfall expected once again. So a very stormy start to September. And then look, Friday we have a low right here. Cold front underneath. Cold air racing in. Even snowfall for Canada behind this one. So this could be a potent Arctic front. And look at this. Very, very severe looking storms underneath this low. Could be another severe weather event here for the upper Midwest. Very common for the late summer, early fall time frame, I should say, for those areas. Now, as far as tropical activity is concerned, we are using the European AI model. We don't get too much in terms of activity. I mean, we get this potential homegrown system around the 26th, so that's one to watch for. Nothing really along the Gulf. We do get this system here, this wave that comes off of Africa. Here's the 30th of August, and we see it right here. It does look to potentially move towards the east, although in this model run, we do see it kind of move out to sea. But don't lock yourself into that idea too much. It could really go anywhere, as we've always said. So it could even slide into the southern Caribbean, I could go even more out to sea. Anything is possible because this storm is still not even developed yet. I don't even think it's over Africa yet. So this storm really has a long way to go. Definitely could see some big time changes in anything to do with this storm. But we do see it start to develop really, really a lot here. Looks a lot like Ernesto that we just had here as far as turning towards Bermuda. Hopefully not, but very interesting that it's following that kind of common path. We do see some tropical interest, I'd say, along that Gulf Coast here sometime during this model run. Look at this. So we see this storm trying to develop as it's heading kind of eastward along that Gulf Coast. And then we have another tropical wave to watch coming after all of these. So a handful of systems to watch for. Again, conditions are super, super ripe, historically ripe for development. And we still have about 80% of the season ahead of us, or 80% not of time, but of the expected activity. From this point forward, we do expect to see the majority ahead of us, not behind us. So definitely something to watch for. Now, as we take a look at the total precipitation over the next 15 days on this GFS model, we do actually see quite a bit here throughout the south central and southeastern states again as we get that kind of uptick. It still would probably be around normal precipitation, I would say. Let's take a look. Yeah, very close to normal, but still slightly below normal for a lot of these areas. But a big time uptick from what we're seeing now, which is severely below average. We're talking maybe half an inch below average for these areas, whereas right now we're looking at much more like 1, 2, even 3 inches below average in some areas. So this would be a massive swing in the right direction for a lot of drought stricken areas. Now, as we just take a look here at the temperature pattern, we're in a cool down right now in the east. We see a warm up on the way, as we've kind of discussed here. But more cooler air is expected, especially around that September 1st time frame. Look at this Arctic blast pour into the eastern states here. This is a good frame to look at. Around the 2nd into the 3rd, we have cooler air, especially if you're in the central plains, upper Midwest Great Lakes, northeast mid-Atlantic, kind of eastern Canada area as well. Those are all the areas that would see the brunt of this one. And then it kind of, instead of wanting to dive really far south this time around, it kind of wants to recycle back up around the globe. So pretty common stuff here. We still are left with much cooler weather in these areas than that big heat wave that kind of hits here in a little bit. But definitely not the coldest in the world, which should never be expected during August, September timeframe regardless. But it's going to kind of tack onto that nicer fall-like weather that we've been seeing. It's going to be another round of that. So definitely well welcomed, I'm sure, by a majority of people. As we take a look kind of at the long range temperature pattern, again, warm up here briefly around that end of August timeframe. Here's the early September timeframe, the 3rd through the 8th, cooler in the east. And we really stay cooler, maybe a brief warm up happening at some point there around the 15th to 20th timeframe. But we cool down even further as we reach towards late September before we kind of reach this hit or miss pattern. But look at this, the first week of October, there's still plenty of cool air to go around here in the east. So perhaps a cooler beginning of fall like we've been discussing. That's really going to be something that we're tracking. I know a lot of people are interested to know if we are going to have kind of like a true fall this year, whereas in recent years it feels like it takes forever for fall to get here. This could be one where finally fall is a little bit more appropriate to what a lot of you might remember it being like over, past years. Anyway, guys, be sure to check out Prestige Weather in the description, pin comment down below like I said. Also, subscribe. We do upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.